Welcome back to The Price of Business here on this Monday morning. Every Monday I bring him in, Brian Spitz. He's with BigStateHomeBuyers.com, and we have a good time talking about what's happening on the real estate front. Today we're going to do something I think is really important, very useful. One of those things you're going to want to, actually look up at our archive over at priceofbusiness.com and save it. Is this whole idea of how you do the things you do to make things so much easier for home or for investment people. And so talk a little bit about, first of all, your organization, your company, and what makes you all unique, and then what you have for us today.
Well, Big State Home Buyers is a home buying company, and what we do is we provide seamless real estate transactions to sellers and to buyers. And we do a lot of very specific and unique marketing where we, capture a couple hundred or more people per month that are interested in selling their house quickly, and we buy those houses cash, close within 30 days or less. It's unique because we focus on fixing any title issues if there are any. There's no secondary inspections. There's no contingencies. It's just a really good way to sell a property if you need to get rid of it quickly or you just don't want to deal with listing it on the MLS.
Yes, awesome. All right, and for today?
Today, what I wanted to talk about is probably our biggest source of business comes from people who have inherited houses, whether they're people who have gone through probate or people who someone passed away and they haven't probated the estate yet. And a lot of people don't realize that you can sell a property without actually having to take it through the probate court, especially if there's not a whole lot to the estate other than some simple cash and real property. If your estate is real involved, then a probate attorney is something you want to look into. But we do, free of charge, these affidavit of heirships where we put titles to the property in the heirs' names. We walk them through all that paperwork, and we do it for free. And, we can, if someone has passed away and you have a property you need to get rid of, we can get the property closed with you within a couple of weeks, as opposed to hiring a probate attorney, spending a few $1,000s doing that, spending 3 to 6 months while it goes through probate court.
Which you're accumulating a tax burden. You're accumulating all kinds of burdens along the way.
Right.
So, yeah.
It's not just that, but somebody's got to pay to insure the house.
Yeah.
Someone's got to look after it because vacant houses deteriorate.
Yep.
Or get vandalized.
There's so maybe a mortgage involved.
Right, there might be a mortgage. There's definitely, if there's a homeowners association, the lawn needs to get cut, the electric bill needs to get paid. So, you could be holding on to that house for 6 months or a year while you do the probate and then put it on the market and then wait to sell it, because an agent won't list the house for you until you have the probate complete. So, you're talking about a serious amount of money that accumulates, and someone's got to keep up with all of that. So
right.
It's the most common reason people sell to us, because by the time you figure all of those expenses and the time, and by the time you consider if it needs any repairs, you almost come out just the same if you sell the property to a home buyer, and just, let us walk you through the heirship process and close the house without having to do all of that other stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, talking to Brian Spitz, talking about, how deals are done and really how to make life so much easier for someone who inherits something that is only a blessing when you first inherit it. But if you're holding it 4 or 5 months later and only paying money on it and you don't know what to do with it, then all of a sudden it becomes a curse.
Yeah, it is a project. Dealing with estates is a project. If anybody has ever gone through being the executor of an estate or the oldest sibling who has to help take care of things, it's a project.
Yeah.
And so this is just one way to eliminate one of the burdens of handling what needs to be done after someone passes away.
Yeah, no question about it. And so kind of tell me, step by step, how realistically from the time they contact until the deal is actually done, what type of time frame are we talking about?
Well, it just depends on whether or not there are any title issues, whether or not, the mortgage, when it was paid off, if there ever was one, was properly released, whether, there's
no liens on the home.
Right, liens, or if we have to do these heirship affidavits, we can do those in a couple of weeks unless you have, siblings who are missing. And, we just closed a property last month where the siblings hadn't spoken in 20 years. And
wow.
She didn't even know where her sister was, and we tracked this lady down in the course of a week and got her involved and still closed the transaction quickly. This lady, she's a teacher, and she didn't have the time to go out and hunt her sister down, and really didn't know where to begin.
And if they hadn't talked in 20 years, she really didn't want to hunt her down anyway.
That's right, but it's the only thing she could do. She had to sell the house, and there's no other way to sell the house without doing it.
Wow.
That's the problems that we solve. There are these little tricks, these things that, you either wouldn't know how to do or you're going to pay attorneys thousands of dollars to do for you. We're motivated to do it for you because we want to buy the property.
Right.
So we have a whole department in-house that handles all of those issues.
Basically research.
Right, basically research and title processing. And then today I'm closing on a property. 4 siblings inherited it. Their mother had a will. It was already probated. It was done. We're closing within 2 weeks. So we contracted it 2 weeks ago. We're closing today. It was very simple because all of that work was already done.
Yeah. Now, most of the deals over there at, when you go to, again, BigStateHomeBuyers.com, you click the investment page, the properties to look at. Most of them have, X amount due, in order to buy it. And, clean and clear, I'm assuming.
Of course.
But then you got some occasionally where it's a little different. You have one there right now where it's a little more complicated, but actually a little easier to get into. Here's one that's getting into it is only $10,000. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, sometimes we actually sell properties for $10,000 cash, but they're not the best neighborhoods, and they typically need a lot of work. So
this one is actually a $100,000 home that is probably actually worth more than that, I'm sure.
Right. That's a property in the Spring Branch area between Spring Branch and Cypress. And what we can do in some instances where a seller wants to get out of the note and they don't want to list the house, or it needs a little work, or they would have to bring some money to close by the time they did some work to the house, paid an agent, held on to the house, and all that stuff. So we actually create a transaction where we wrap the existing note and we sell the property to a new buyer where they're essentially taking over the previous owner's payments. But title does transfer, the deed transfers, everything closes at a title company. So it's not just, a kitchen table closing. It's done by an attorney, and it's just a great way for both homeowners or home investors to get into a home without having to invest a lot or having to really depend on your own credit.
In this crazy, volatile economy that we're living in, it's really, really important to hold on to investments, acquire investments that actually are tangible. And that's one of the cool things about homes. And our entire tax structure is geared towards making it an incredibly attractive investment area. The entire tax code on multiple different ways. In fact, that'd be a great topic, is to talk about how the tax code in the future is geared to making home ownership in an investment arena so attractive. And so, and what's phenomenal about the folks there at BigStateHomeBuyers.com is that they actually take it and make it a seamless process. And so we want to encourage people to learn more about it. Go to BigStateHomeBuyers.com. While you're there, also look at the inventory of properties that they have and learn more about it. And thanks for being with us, as always.
My pleasure.
Always goes fast. All right, Brian Spitz, extraordinary at what he does. We're delighted to get him once a week to come in here to get to pick his brain, to teach us what we need to know when it comes to investing in real estate. Thanks so much. And when we come back, much more for you. I do want to remind you the show continues 24/7 at priceofbusiness.com. While you're there, like it on Facebook, follow it on Twitter.